Hey, it's me, the Quenchies. I'm that late afternoon craving you just can't shake. Wait, what's that? Welch's Grape Aid? No! Made with real fruit and no added sugar, nothing answers the call of the Quenchies like Grape Aid. Got the Quenchies? Grab a Grape Aid in your juice aisle.
Connect to the world with special Turkish Airlines fares. Book your flight before November 30th and take advantage of great deals. Fly to the most exciting destinations with the award-winning airline that flies to more countries than any other. Terms and conditions apply. For more details, visit TurkishAirlines.com. Turkish Airlines, widen your world.
Audible lets you enjoy all of your audio entertainment in one single app. You'll always be able to find the best of what you love or something new to discover. Audible offers an incredible selection of audiobooks across every genre, from your bestsellers to new releases to celebrity memoirs. My favorite, as you probably know, are the true crime titles that they have available on Audible. The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere. You can listen while traveling, working out, walking, doing chores, you decide. Now, new members can try Audible for free for 30 days by using our link. So all you have to do to sign up and get a free 30 days is visit audibletrial.com/atrialbypodcast. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Emily.
And last week, I told you the beginning of the story of the disappearance of 14-year-old Max DeVries, who went missing after going jet skiing with a random man that his family met on vacation in Aruba. Last week, we went over how this man's story made no sense, how he kept changing his story, how he had scratches on his arms and his hands and his neck. And this week, we are going to dive in to his criminal history, which is going to enrage you. So,
this is a trial by podcast, so we'll let you be the judge.
Of this man who you're going to hate by the end of this.
I already hate him, so. And if I still sound like a man, it's because we're recording this on the same day.
Yes, yeah. Like I said, I think I said at the end of last week's episode, I didn't expect this to be a two-parter, but like, I think when there's a case that just literally makes no sense, we go back and forth a lot because we're like, how... And we're trying to like think through all the possibilities of like, well, maybe this and maybe that. And so I don't know if you guys hate when we do that, let us know nicely, say it nicely. But I feel like that's what we're here for. This is a story that's already been told. Every story we do, for the most part, has already been told in a lot of places. We are retelling it, and I think the value we bring is the discussion portion and the dialogue that you don't see on, like, when you're just watching a show, like you're watching 60 Minutes. We're not the reporters on 60 Minutes telling you the story. We're you telling your friend the story and you guys being like, what the fuck? That makes no sense.
That's me.
That's the vibe we're going for.
Yep.
So I think that this case really has us like, we're like down the rabbit hole. We're like, this makes no sense.
Yeah, we're saying what the fuck at every turn, dude.
Yeah.
At least I am.
So if you guys are enjoying the podcast, if you enjoying, I always hate using that word because we're telling such horrible stories. But if you find the podcast intriguing and you find these stories important, and you like the way that we tell them, make sure you help us out. Give us a 5-star rating. Make sure you're following us wherever you are listening. So when we have two-parters like this, you don't miss when part 2 comes out and all of that. And we appreciate you. With that, let's just get right back into it. I want to give you a quick overview of what we talked about last week. So last week we talked about they're hanging out with these guys on vacation. They play pool one day. The next day, the family and the guys go parasailing together. Then that afternoon, Max goes jet skiing with the younger man. They come back. All is well. Max had a great time. Everything's good. The next day, the older man's like, I want to go jet skiing. Can Max come with me? Max goes. Max never comes back. The older man tells Yvonne. Right afterwards, he says, oh, he was just floating away. And he says he didn't even bother to go after him. Then that same day, after he tells Yvonne this, he goes to the police station and he's telling authorities that Max swam away. He was trying to swim to shore. And again, he says he didn't go after him. Then 3 days later, he gives another statement to police saying that, no, he didn't swim. He did not swim. He was floating away. And and they're like, did you, he says that he didn't yell after him or anything. They weren't talking. There was no dialogue between them, which makes no sense. If you're lost at sea with someone, it's like, wouldn't you be, I don't know. Now, the last thing that we talked about last week was the scratches and how he said he got these scratches when he was trying to climb back onto the wave runner that apparently is made out of broken glass or something because
something sharp as fuck.
It makes no sense. And really, like we said, what Detective Corey Williams thinks allegedly may have actually been the cause of the scratches, because that makes no sense, is that they were made by Max, allegedly, while the older man allegedly maybe pushed him under the water to drown him because they're on his neck. Imagine if someone's pushing you under the water by your shoulders or by your neck. Where are you going to reach to try and pull yourself up? The only thing in front of you to grab is that person in front of you. So you're grabbing at their arms, at their neck, whatever you can get a hold of, trying to pull yourself
Isn't
out.
that a lot of like strangulation victims? Like that's how that's what they do in defense too. Because if you're holding somebody's neck, you're trying to get at their neck to push them off of you.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Or
it
like
probably depends on like
arms or
the size difference between the people, like if you can reach and stuff. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah. So anyway, we don't know what happened, and I'm not accusing this man of murder. I'm just saying we're just trying to see where the facts add up to.
I'm gonna go ahead and accuse him of lying.
I think he's lying about something for sure.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah. So that's where we left off. Now, like we said, the Aruban authorities just like, they don't even question that this man's story, that the math ain't mathin' with this guy's story. They just believe it. And they're like, okay. And with that, it was just pretty much case closed.
They're saying the limit does not exist. He could never have done this.
But pretty much, they're like, this was an unfortunate accident on the water, and he was lost at sea. Now, but what I want to point out is that the Aruban authorities didn't even request a background check on this man to see what type of person he was.
Oh, they really didn't do nothing.
And if they had, they would have quickly found what Detective Williams found when he did this, which was that the older man had been arrested in Los Angeles in 1981 for molesting a young boy.
Oh, God.
Not only did that young boy turn out to be the adopted son that was with him in Aruba on vacation, but they also found that the boy happened to be 14 years old at the time of the incident.
Oh my
the
God.
exact same age that Max was at the time of his disappearance.
Can I just say what in the absolute fuck Aruban authorities? Because it takes 2 seconds to run a background.
I mean, if it's probably harder for them because they can't get into it's not like they can run the background check. They would have to request it from U.S. authorities and things like. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't take that long.
Cover your fucking bases so you don't look like idiots when someone else does your job for you like this. Because,
oh my God, that makes me so fucking mad.
Because now the scratches are looking a little more suspicious.
Yeah. Bro.
Now, according to the statement that the boy, I'm calling him the boy now, but the boy is the younger guy when he was a kid. Okay. According to the statement that the boy gave to the police at the time, the older man had fondled his testicles and would stick his hand down the back of the boy's pants and massage his buttocks. Now, after discovering this, Corey Williams felt that he was like, this was no accident, in his opinion, allegedly.
Because King Corey uses context clues.
Yes, King Corey uses context clues. Can we put that on a t-shirt? Use context clues like our King Corey.
King Corey.
King
context
Corey.
Clues.
Now,
I'm looking for a man like Corey who uses context clues.
So
that didn't flow as good.
Corey, yeah, it wasn't great. I wasn't going to mention it. Emily's having an off week. I was just going to let her have it, but
it's all right. I called myself out for
you're
that one.
self-aware. Now, Corey felt that this was no accident and that the older man had allegedly molested and murdered Max, possibly with the help of the younger man. So, again, this is all allegedly. We don't know. This is in our opinion using context clues. None of this is proven. All of that. I want to make that very clear because I don't want to get sued. But
so younger guys.
What Corey says is that he thinks the younger man had been abused by the older man and that as he grew up, they are now working together pretty much.
Well, what's that called? Isn't that, it's like
grooming.
Yes, but also not Munchausen's. Maybe Munchausen's?
Oh, no, Stockholm syndrome.
Yes.
Like when
where they like think they are like dependent on their elder.
I wonder if that
on their abuser. Because they're like fully convinced that
I feel like I've only heard that in terms of like you're being
like
held
abductions.
hostage or like prisoner by somebody. But
yeah.
I mean, I think if this man adopted him. Remember that they're adopted. This isn't his actual son. So that makes me think he adopted the kid so he could abuse him.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you think he adopted him before that?
I don't know. Someone tell us in the comments. If you listen on Spotify, you can comment. Or if you listen somewhere else, like you can send us a DM on Instagram or something at A Trial by Podcast.
Or our
Would
website.
this be considered Stockholm syndrome? I don't know, but
Google it real quick. Do a real quick Google. Stockholm syndrome is a psychological response that Stockholm syndrome is a psychological response that describes when a victim develops a bond with their captor or abuser.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and now Corey Williams felt that this was allegedly no accident and that the older man had allegedly molested and murdered Max, possibly with the help of the younger man. He says that the older man may have used the younger man to groom Max and develop trust, like from Max, while the older man worked on gaining the trust of Yvonne and Pat. Corey was unable to get any official information on the investigation that the Aruban authorities had done, except for those like files that I told you about, like the statements and everything, which I believe are like a public resource that you can go request. Okay. But like he wasn't able, basically the Aruban authorities were like not
they pretty much
going
just
to help
washed their hands of this case and acted like nothing else was needed.
Exactly. Now, with this new information about the man being a fucking child molester, Corey had enough that he felt like, okay, I can kind of get something a little bit more official opened to start looking into Max's case. So what he does is he contacts a friend from the FBI, and a formal like FBI investigation into Max's disappearance was opened.
Hell yeah, King Corey. All hail King Corey.
All hail King Corey. Now, Yvonne and Dominique were elated. They felt like they were finally going to get some answers. They finally had people working on Max's case. They finally had people who cared. And Corey and the FBI agent, they started right away. And they're like, where do we start? Okay, we've got to first of all, we've got to talk to these guys. We got to see what they say.
Thing two.
Now, they decided that they were going to interview the younger man first because
smart.
They felt like the older man was obviously more connected to the case, and like if they're starting to make accusations against them, it's more against the older man who was out there with Max. So they're like, maybe the younger man is going to be more cooperative, more like willing pliable, to talk to us.
Yeah.
Now, in the interview, the younger man denied having anything to do with Max's disappearance and said that it was an accident and yada, yada. And, I don't know what happened. He was lost at sea, whatever. Now, the FBI agent asked him to come in the next day to take a polygraph to back up his story. And the man agreed. Now, you probably won't be shocked to hear, however, that he just never showed up for the polygraph. He's like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll see you tomorrow at whatever time. And
How convenient.
never showed up. And again, I know we say all the time on here, like, we would never take a polygraph. The only reason we know that is because we listen to true crime and stuff all the time. And also, if I was asked to take a polygraph, I wouldn't say that I would do it and then just not show up. I would be like, I am telling you the truth, but I'm not going to take a polygraph because I listen to true crime. And that's what Ashley
They're
Flowers
not
tells me. Queen Ashley Flowers says, don't take a polygraph, so I'm not going to do it. She is my attorney. But so it's like, I get not wanting to, even if you're innocent, I do understand not wanting to take the polygraph, but it's a little sus. It's just
It's something about him agreeing and then just going MIA.
Yeah.
Said, I changed my mind.
Because he's agreeing to it and he's not explaining like why he wouldn't want to do it, but then he's not showing up, which to me,
That's a bigger red flag.
I think to Corey Williams, this was a hint that the man did not think he would pass the polygraph, which again,
Fair.
of course, that's not actual evidence against him, but it does make you look at him a certain way for sure.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, just a few weeks after this initial interview, the FBI agent was pulled off the case to work on some terrorism case. And the small amount of progress that had been made was now at a standstill again. Now, Yvonne, Dominique, and even Corey were disheartened by this. Dominique said that to her, it just felt like her brother's case was being swept under the rug yet again. Now, for a long time, the case seemed to sit this way, cold and untouched on a shelf somewhere.
God, that's so frustrating.
Now, that is until April of 2013, when Yvonne got a message from a woman that she had never met before. Now, this woman, she remained anonymous in all the interviews that she did, so I don't know her name or anything. We're just going to call her the woman. If you get confused who I'm talking about, just let me know and I'll
raise my hand.
Clarify. So this woman was the ex-girlfriend of the younger man. So she had dated him for about a year, and this was after the Aruba trip, after the men were in Aruba and after Max's disappearance. So she contacts Yvonne, and according to the ex-girlfriend, while she was dating the younger man, the older man comes to visit. It's like your boyfriend's dad is coming to visit, okay?
Yep.
While he's visiting, it sounds like he was staying with them. And at one point, it was just her and the dad alone together, like in a room.
Yeah.
And the younger guy, I don't know, he's off doing something else. And while they're alone together, the older man asks her if the younger man, if her boyfriend, had ever told her about the boy who went missing in Aruba. The woman told him no. He had never mentioned it. Like, she had no idea what he was talking about. And the older man explained to her that he and his son had met a young boy in Aruba on vacation who went missing during their trip. And that the son, who, again, is the woman's boyfriend at the time.
Okay.
He's like, so the man that you're dating was super close to the boy and was very upset by the whole ordeal. Weird. Now, later that night, the woman asks the younger guy. So she asks her boyfriend, what happened to the boy? And she's like, your dad is telling me this weird story about a boy in Aruba.
He opened up this can of worms, and are you going to finish telling me about it? Because
exactly.
What's with this story?
And all he said was that he went missing, but he didn't tell her the whole story. So she's like, what happened to this kid in Aruba? Now, according to the woman, she says that this started a huge argument, and the man scolded her to never mention that again, end quote. So she didn't, because she was like, I don't know what's going on, but it was causing a big argument. So she didn't mention it again. Now,
I would have. I'd been like, hey, literally the next night, I would have been like, hey, I know you weren't ready to talk about that yesterday, but like, why did it upset you that much?
Yeah.
Or like even a week later, I'd still be like,
but I think it's like one of those things where you would never believe that like they had something to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're just like, okay, well, maybe this is just a really like traumatic memory. Like I don't know, but I feel like I'd be like you. I'd be like, bitch, I need more information.
Yeah, like why'd your dad say you were so upset?
Now, the woman also said that the younger man had previously admitted to her that he was sexually assaulted as a child, but he never said who had assaulted him, which we know
Was
from
his
it was
dad?
at least the father. You know, maybe there was something else that was never reported, like someone else had assaulted him too.
Yeah.
But we know from that police report that according to this man, the father had sexually assaulted him.
Where is the mom?
I don't know. Well, he's adopted. Remember, this isn't even his real father.
Yeah.
I don't know anything of. There's no information about his parents. We don't know how old he was when he was adopted. I don't know any of that
I
information.
have a ton of questions.
Well,
about
that's
that.
what I do too, because there's this police report that there were charges filed for molesting a child. I don't think that he was ever actually convicted of this crime. I don't know that for sure, but I could not find any information about like him going to prison or anything for that. So it makes me think that like
somebody
it
didn't
never
want to
went
press
to
charges or anything, or how does that work?
Well, no. For a child molestation case, I don't think anyone would have to. The
like a
state
state?
would press
Okay.
charges. I don't know why. I don't know what fell through. I don't know why. But I couldn't find anything about him like going to prison or anything for this. But my question is, had he already adopted the kid before that?
Yeah, like how
Or
did he
did he
even,
adopt
how
the
did
kid
he meet
after?
this kid? Like,
Because I have a feeling he must have adopted the kid before that, because I can't imagine that they're going to let this man adopt a kid who he was
Had those
accused of sexually assaulting,
Yeah.
even if he was never convicted, but I don't know.
that
But
makes
also
sense,
at the
yeah.
same time, if he was already adopted, like, isn't like CPS checking in on this stuff?
Right.
Like every once in a while,
Right.
giving his name like a little bit of a goog and say, you know what, let's just check up on this guy who we let adopt a kid and make sure he's not committing sexual violent acts against children. But I don't know. Anyway, so like the younger man, he does tell her like, yes, I was sexually assaulted as a child, but he never mentions that it was his dad who did it to him. So she didn't know that. She only learned about that from, I believe, talking to Yvonne and Corey Williams. Like she didn't know it when she was dating him. Now, this is interesting because while the older man was like visiting them, this woman had a young son. And so the dad's staying with them, or like the older man is staying with them. And like I said, she doesn't know that this older man was molesting children. But she started to slowly notice that this older man seemed to want to spend a lot of time with her son. He was constantly taking him places, buying him things, that kind of stuff. Now, at first, the woman thought it was great. She was like, she just kind of thought it was nice that like her boyfriend's family was trying to bond with her family and they were getting closer.
Yeah,
and
like
all
father
of this.
figure. Yeah.
But after the older man had mentioned the missing boy from Aruba, she started to like think twice about this special attention that the older man was paying her son, and it started to make her uncomfortable.
Why is this guy telling literally everybody he meets about this boy in Aruba?
Guilty conscience. That's my theory, personally.
Yeah, I mean,
Guilty
what else?
conscience.
Either that or he's like, hey, never got caught. What do you know about it?
Right. Maybe he was wondering like, oh, did my son confess to her or
Yeah.
something? I don't know. But on top of all this, it also seemed like the relationship was. Oh, it also seemed like the relationship between the older man and this woman's son was progressing. Like it was getting more. I
Like,
don't
they
know
were
what the
getting
word.
more attached and like
Right.
closer.
Like at first it was just like he would buy him little gifts and like take him to do like activities and stuff. But then he started like ask her 10-year-old son to sit on his lap and stuff like that. So it was just like getting
Ew.
more close in a way that felt uncomfortable and inappropriate to her. And so she ended up like she did end up breaking up with the younger man not too long after all of this and cut off contact with both men.
Because of the dad being weird?
I don't know. She didn't explicitly say that, so I don't know. But she definitely made it sound like this was an added benefit of breaking up with this guy is like his weird, creepy
It's
dad
just like
wasn't around
the
my son.
bucket of red flags this guy's giving
Yeah.
me.
Now, After the breakup.
Good for her for getting away, though.
Yes, good. Yeah, a lot of red flags. Now, after the breakup, she could not help but ruminate on the story of the missing boy from Aruba. She just kept thinking about it, and she's like, I need to know more. And so one night, she ends up Googling the story to see what came up. So she just Googled missing American boy in Aruba.
Yeah.
And this is when she came across news stories about Max's disappearance. So she Googles the story. She finds the stories about Max's disappearance. And once she's reading about what happened, she immediately contacts Yvonne. And she told Yvonne about how she knew the two men, and she explained, I want to help you find out what happened to your son.
Hell yeah.
Because I don't think the story that's out there is what happened.
Hell yeah.
And Yvonne was very, very grateful. But this woman didn't really have much more information that was helpful to them, except besides what Yvonne already knew.
Yeah.
So everything I just told you is yeah, they're starting to look a little bit more suspicious, but
there's still no other facts. Nothing else is coming up.
Right.
Other than that, he's literally telling everybody about
and
this
he's creepy.
yeah.
He's creepy, but the older man is creepy to the kid, but that doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, he never actually did anything.
However,
thank God.
She did have one more piece of information that ended up being somewhat helpful. So she mentioned that she had heard that the girl who dated the younger man after her had a very bad experience with him as well. So this is the ex-girlfriend I've been talking about this whole time. She's saying, hey, there's another girl who dated the same guy after me and him broke up, and I heard something really bad happened. So she helped Yvonne get into contact with the second ex-girlfriend, the second woman. And she told Yvonne that the younger man once told her, quote, the only good thing my father ever did for me was get me out of some trouble when I was in Aruba, end quote.
What? What'd he say? One more time.
The only good thing my father ever did for me was get me out of some trouble when I was in Aruba. This is the younger man saying this about the older man.
What trouble are you referring to, sir?
That is the question. And it's very interesting to me because he wasn't the one out on the water with Max.
Yeah.
Not that we know of, at least. We know that the older man went out on the jet skis with him because, they went and signed up at the rental place and everything. But, so I could see this. Again, this is all conjecture, what I'm about to say. None of this is proven, yada, yada, yada. I could see this going, because this is making it sound like the younger man did something to Max. Because originally I was kind of thinking, older man obviously did something, and the younger man is helping him cover it up. But now it's sounding like it's the opposite, that maybe the younger man did something, and the older man is helping him cover it up. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, what happened? Because they're out on the water. And so it's not the ideal place to sexually assault somebody. I don't know.
In the middle of the ocean on a sandbar.
Right. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be funny about it either. It's just really, that makes it not as easy. I don't know.
It could explain why they chose to go 6 miles from the beach.
Well, yes. Now, what I'm wondering though is, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe the younger man, they had planned this beforehand, and they had the younger man meet him out at the sandbar.
Yeah.
And that's why he wasn't in the room, is because he was out on the water. But I'm like, I don't know, that's kind of weird. But then you also have to remember, the younger man went out on the jet skis alone with Max the day before.
Yeah, and they went to the same sandbar.
And here's the thing, is Max came back from that, and from what the family says, he was like, oh, it was so awesome. I love jet skiing. I had a great time.
And he wanted to go with the dad again the next day.
And so it doesn't sound like anything bad happened. But, I think there are a lot of cases where you hear kids don't know what to, if they're molested, they don't know what to do and they don't say anything.
Yeah.
So I think it's unlikely, but part of me wonders, did the younger man do something to him. Max came back, didn't say anything. And then the younger man told the dad, and the dad is like, oh, you can't just like let him go, because what if he says something? You're going to like go to prison. I'm going to help you get out of some trouble in Aruba.
I don't know. I feel like I thought of that about that scenario before. Like, what if like the younger guy went out with him and tried something with him, and Max was like, no, like, we're not doing that. And he was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Then let's go back. And that's why he was like, didn't raise any red flags. Like, oh, I had such a good time. And that's why he wanted to go again. Because he's like, well, that was harmless. Like, he didn't really mean anything by that. I
can't imagine that Max would want to go out again with even if
that's what I'm saying.
If something bad happened. But it's just like,
that's why I was like, I don't think that he would want to go out again with them if something actually bad happened.
I'm trying, because to me, him saying the only good thing my father ever did for me was get me out of some trouble when I was in Aruba, that makes me think, and again, this is hearsay.
Yeah.
Like this woman is telling Yvonne that this man said this to her, but Yvonne did not hear this with her own ears. They would not be able to use this in a court of law. I'm pretty sure about that. This is hearsay. So, who knows? And I believe this woman. I genuinely do. But it's like, there is the off chance it's made up or something. But I genuinely believe it.
Yeah.
And
me too.
But that makes me think that this guy, it was not just covering it up. He was an active participant, if not the main person in this.
Yeah.
Because he's saying my dad helps me get out of trouble in Aruba. So it's just,
now my brain is like going through all these scenarios. Like, what if they, like you said, what if they like came up with this whole thing and the younger guy was already at the sandbar and the older guy brought Max back there to meet him, and then shit went.
That's what I'm kind of leaning towards.
And he's like, well, he's going to tell somebody about this, so let's take care of it now. Mm-hmm. And magically,
that's what I'm leaning towards, because that also explains why he never answered the door in the room. Because he wasn't in the room.
And then he magically ended up back on the beach. That's just where they found him.
10 minutes before the other guys rescued and brought back into the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where the math is mathing for me.
There's a whole lot of math.
Again, all of that is conjecture, and none of that is proven, and no one's convicted, and we're not accusing people of anything. We're just trying to do some math here.
We're just thinking some thoughts.
We're just thinking some thoughts out loud. Now, this second girl also said that at one time, while the younger man was sleeping, he kept repeating a name in his sleep.
Oh, God, if it's Max.
It was Max. He kept saying the name Max in his sleep. Now, obviously, at the time that this happened, she didn't know anything about like Max's case or anything.
Yeah, she's probably like, who the fuck's Max?
And she asks him who Max was, but he refused to tell her. He was like, it's no one. I'm not, like, wouldn't explain to her who Max was or like why he was repeating it in his sleep.
But like, didn't you say she Googled what happened in Aruba?
That was the first woman.
Oh.
That was the first woman.
Okay.
She had Googled it, found it, contacted Yvonne, and then she said, okay, I don't really have that much more information to help you, but I heard that this second girl who dated him after me has more information. So this is the second girl's story. Okay. The second girl is the one that says he told her the thing about his father getting him out of trouble in Aruba.
And the name in the sleep. Okay.
Now, he's refusing to tell her like who Max was, but she keeps pushing him. She's like, no, explain this to me.
Yeah, like,
that's
who the
really
fuck is
weird.
Max? Why you're just constantly saying that in your sleep? Damn. Does he have another girlfriend that tells more?
Well, hold on, because we're not done with her story yet. So she's trying to push him, and sadly, this made the man snap on her. Allegedly. Because again, there's no convictions for this, so we can't say it happened as fact, whatever. But allegedly, the man ended up holding her at gunpoint before strangling her with a cord and then cut her with a knife.
Jesus.
Miraculously, the woman was able to escape, and she reported the incident to police. The young man was arrested. Oh, so maybe he was convicted.
Was he actually convicted?
The young man was arrested on 8 separate charges.
8?
Two charges of aggravated rape, 1 charge of especially aggravated kidnapping, 2 charges of aggravated kidnapping, and 3 charges of aggravated assault.
That's a lot of charges.
It is. And now I don't know for sure. It makes it, there's so many charges that it makes it seem like to me that they weren't all for this one incident.
Yeah, how do you get 3 different kidnapping charges?
That's what I don't understand. They don't explain, like, I couldn't find any information about, like, if these were separate incidents. This is just what it sounds like to me, and I want to make it very clear. I could be wrong about this. It sounds like this incident where, you know, he strangled her and stuff, this was like a culmination, and after that she went to police. She told them about that incident and then other incidents that had already happened previously. And the charges were for like multiple incidents.
Okay. She's like, this happened not just this time.
Right. I don't know that for sure.
No, that
but
makes
that's
sense.
what it makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Way to eat its heat. You're listening to an ad for PC Game Pass. Want new games on day one like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? How about living out your Sims life with EA Play? We're talking high-quality PC games all for one low monthly price. We got you. Learn more at xbox.com/PC Game Pass or click the banner. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle available December 9th, 2024. Game catalog varies by region and over time. Okay, that's the ad. You can go back to doing whatever you were doing now.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Black Friday week deals now.
Now, it honestly, it doesn't even end up really mattering how many incidents in a legal sense. Of course, it matters that he did this to her, but what ends up happening is there's some sort of deal that was worked out with the prosecutor, and the man was just given 2 years probation for all of those charges, for those 8 charges.
What happened?
There's some deal that the prosecutor just works with him. I don't know why or how.
What the fuck?
And
that's a lot of charges to get 2 years probation.
Yeah, a lot of violent charges too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really interesting.
I wonder if she said anything about the Aruba thing to the police when she said.
I don't think so. I don't know. Now, the second woman, she actually declined to participate in any of the interviews. Like in the Paramount Plus documentary, the first woman, she's being recorded for the show. Her face is blacked out and her voice is changed, and they don't give her a name.
Okay.
But the second woman, she wouldn't even do the interview. However, she does confirm all of this happened. Like everything that I just told you that the second woman told Yvonne.
Yeah.
Yvonne's the one telling you what the second woman is saying, because the second woman is like scared. She doesn't want to give an interview.
I'm not going to say any of this, but I will confirm that all of that is true.
She did. Like the producers reached out to her and she said, yes, that is what happened. I confirmed that is what I told Yvonne, and that is what happened to me.
Okay.
So I just want to make that clear.
You know? Yeah.
So when all of this information gets back to Corey Williams, any doubt that he had about the son's involvement in this crime was squashed. He was kind of like what I was thinking previously, like, okay, well, maybe the younger guy, he helped cover it up, or he genuinely wasn't a part of it and didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
But at this point, he's like, this guy, like, he is pretty certain that both men allegedly played a role in what happened to Max.
Yeah.
Now, looking back at the younger man's statements to the Aruban police at the time of Max's disappearance, they're odd. They're odd, to say the least. One part reads, quote, "I did not specifically look out for Max in order to have contact with him. I thought he was 15 or 16 years of age, and he looked older. He was very mature. I have young and old friends. Max and I spoke about cars and motorcycles. In the past, I was arrested for drunkenness. I was 21 at the time and was in front of my house. My father was never arrested. I am 100% hetero. I have never had intimate contacts with boys or men. This is a sad and bad tragedy. This is the first time I am experiencing such a tragedy. End quote.
Okay.
Now, I don't know. This is how I read it on like the statement document, okay? I have no idea. Like, I don't know the context of how this was written. Like, it almost seems like he's being asked questions and then, because this is like a written statement that he's giving, I think.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like they ask him a question and he's just writing down his answer to the question, because he's skipping topics left and right. He's like, Max and I spoke about cars and motorcycles. In the past, I was arrested for drunkenness. Like, there's no segue to like how those are
like
connected. So it reads very odd. I don't know if they were asking him questions or if they were just like, just write
Whatever
down your
comes
statement.
to your fucking mind, yeah.
I don't know, but it seems like I would assume that, they were asking him questions. Just want to make that clear because otherwise you're probably really confused when I read that statement. I want to go back and dissect this very random statement. First of all, he's saying that he didn't specifically look out for Max in order to have contact with him, like, which I think makes sense. We talked about how Max said he was looking for someone to play pool with.
Yeah.
And then he says, I thought he was 15 or 16 years of age and he looked older. Okay, I'm kind of assuming maybe they asked him, they're like, hey, you're in your fucking 30s. Why are you hanging out with like a 14-year-old boy?
Yeah.
And he's just saying, I don't know. I thought he was older. He was very mature. I have young and old friends. I'm like, but you're not friends with a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
I get you. You can say I was playing pool with a kid, but for you to be like, he was very mature.
Friends,
like he's my friend.
And then years later, saying his name in your sleep. That's weird.
Yeah. Weird. Then he's like telling them what they would talk about cars and motorcycles. He mentions that he was arrested for drunkenness. Then he says his father was never arrested. Well, we know that's not true. And we know that he knows that's not true because the father was arrested for molesting him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
he gave a statement to the police during, like, when his father was arrested. Like, I read that statement about how he said his father would like fondle his testicles and put his hand in his pants to like touch his butt or whatever.
Yeah.
So we know that he's lying to them. He's lying to the Aruban authorities. He also says,
is giving the police a false statement the same as lying under oath? Like, do you have to take an oath to give a statement? Or
I don't think so. Like, I don't think that's like perjury.
Because you're not in a courtroom.
Right. Like, obviously it's not a good look to lie to them, but I don't think you would
There's no repercussions.
I don't know. I'm sure it's different in other countries, but I don't know. The other thing that he says, it's weird. And again, this may have been prompted by a question. I just genuinely don't know. But he says, I am 100% hetero. I've never had intimate contacts with boys or men. So if they asked him, hey, are you gay or have you ever slept with boys or men? That seems like it makes sense
for him
like,
to answer that way.
When you just read this paragraph, you're like, this is a fucking weird thing to say.
Yeah, like, why are you giving us unsolicited information?
But I don't know. And it's also like, why would you add, like, if they just asked him if he was gay and then he said, I'm 100% hetero, why would you add boys? Like, why would you say, I feel like you would just be like, no, I'm 100% hetero. I've never had sex with men. Why would you say boys or men? And again, it comes off weird, but it is possible that maybe the police asked in that way. I just don't know. Anyway, but then he's like, this is a sad and bad tragedy. It's like, oh, so convincing that I don't know. What a weird thing to say.
Yeah, like, no shit, dude.
So, sorry, I'm going to try and move on from it. But I found that statement. I was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever read. So I had to bring it up.
Yeah.
So really where we're at with this is there's just a lot of questions left. Like, Yvonne had asked the young man, where was he? He says he was in the room sleeping, but that seems unbelievable. And she told him, like, when she saw the younger man on the beach, she's like, they were looking for you at your room. Where were you? And he's just saying, I was passed out. I didn't even hear them knocking.
In the middle of the day, too?
Right.
On vacation?
Right. And Yvonne says she thinks this is a lie. She and Corey both believe he was not in the room. So is it possible that he was maybe out on the water meeting his father? Who knows?
Personally, I think it's very possible.
Also, like, if he was passed out sleeping in the room, really, what are the odds that he would have woken up just in time to make it down to the beach right before they found his father? And also, what are the odds, like, that the beach just happened to be the first place he would decide to go right after waking up, even though he, like, supposedly didn't know that they were lost out on the water? Like, why are you going to the beach immediately as soon as you wake up? Like, I mean, I guess
also-
you're on vacation, but it's weird.
Also, what are the odds he didn't hear them knocking on his door trying to find out if he's in his room when the hotel staff was looking for him?
That's just crazy
Like,
to me.
there's no way they were like, hello, excuse me, and nobody answered, and they're like, nobody's home.
Yeah. Now, maybe there's some reasonable explanation to all this, or like details that are not available to the public. But I couldn't find anything that answered any of these questions or like made it seem like a reasonable explanation of what this fucking young guy was doing while all this was going on. Because I don't believe he was asleep in the room. I really don't. Personally, that's just my opinion. Now, this kind of just seems to be the overall theme of this case, though. Unanswered questions that no one except Max's family and Corey Williams are like trying to answer. It seems like no one else is trying to get to the bottom to all of these questions that we have. Where are the scratches from? What was the young man doing? Why is he saying this weird shit to these girlfriends? Like, why did no one look into the background check of the older guy? And, like I said, Corey Williams had his friend at the FBI open an investigation. But as of 2008, no one's worked on it.
Since 2008?
It's inactive. It's sitting on a shelf because, some may argue, oh, it's cold. I don't think it's fucking cold. To be honest with you, I think it's a red hot case. I think there's a neon sign with giant arrows pointing you to the exact explanation of what happened here, and no one is trying to do anything about it. And I do understand that without Max's body, it would be very difficult to convict this guy. Why have they not talked to the older man yet? That's what I want to know. They talked to the younger man. I understand the FBI agent got moved. He had to go work on a terrorism case. I'm sure it was very important. Why has no one gone and talked to the older man yet? I want an FBI investigator to go interrogate this older man. That's what I want. I want them to talk to these two women who dated the younger man. I want them to talk to the younger man again. And I want them to go talk to that older man. Because the math is not fucking mathing. And I know we say that all the time and it sounds like joking. It's not, though. None of this makes sense. None of it makes sense. What this older man is saying happened to Max makes no fucking sense. How he says he got the scratches makes no fucking sense. The fact that they're saying Max's name in their dreams and like trying to like abuse women over it.
Yeah, they're bringing it up to his multiple girlfriends.
It makes no sense. So I understand that there may never. I hope that one day there is enough evidence to get a conviction. But for them to do nothing,
also
break that man down, waterboard him. Sorry, I don't mean it. Don't waterboard people, but waterboard him. Do something to get this guy to talk. They're not even trying. And that's what Yvonne, when she reached out to me, and I'm sure when she reaches out to everybody, because that's what she's on TikTok, she's on Facebook, and I'll link in the show notes, and I'll also share like on our social media and stuff where you can find Yvonne's pages, because she's trying to get information out there. I think every single page is called Max to the Millions. And again, I will share the links and everything so they're easy to find. But that's why Yvonne is doing all of this, is because she wants the FBI to reactivate the investigation into Max's disappearance, because to me it seems very evident what happened here, and it feels like no one is doing anything about it.
And also, I mean, they're running out of time to fucking interview these people. Like, that old guy has to be like well into his 80s at this point.
Yeah, you're right. I
Right?
didn't even think about that because it's been 20 years now.
Yeah. Well,
20 years since Max
70s or
disappeared.
80s. Yeah, he's getting up there. And pretty soon they're not going to be able to ask him anything. If he can, I was going to say if he can even remember, but there's no fucking way he forgot about that. Because I think he did some shit.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly. Allegedly.
I have what I think happened in my brain. But I'll wait to the end.
But I mean, that I've got a little more information from Yvonne, just from the website she started, which is Max to the Millions. It's just maxtothemillions.com, I believe. Again, I'll put that in the show notes too. But that's the story. And I feel like I always do this. We get to the end and Emily's like, well, I'll wait till you get. I'm like, no, we're here.
That's it.
We have no answers. And for everyone here listening who doesn't know this family, you're like, oh, that's kind of a, unresolved ending to this crazy story that you've been telling me for 3 hours. But for this family, it is absolutely gut-wrenching every single day to think about this.
100%.
And my heart breaks for the people who they have missing or murdered loved ones, and they have no answers, and the case is actually cold. Like, they literally have no idea what happened, because that is a different type of agony that I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But also, can you imagine how enraging it is every day to feel like you know exactly what happened, and you feel like it's pretty fucking obvious what happened here? Yvonne, I'm really sorry if you don't like swearing, because we swear a lot on this, and the more angry I get, the more I swear, and I've been trying to refrain from swearing so much. So I'm sorry, Yvonne, if you don't like all the cursing, but I just get angry. But like, when you're like, it's so obvious what happened here, why is no one even trying to do something
I
about
feel like
it?
this is to me, that's not a professional prosecutor. This case seems like it's being served on a silver fucking platter. Who did this? But to somebody that's probably like, an FBI agent, they're like, I don't even know where to start anymore. Like, yeah, you can ask the older guy, but if he's going to just lie again, then what's that going to, they don't have any evidence.
Yeah.
But like, what if they can, like, were there security cameras at the hotel to see where the younger guy was and if he was actually in his room?
Well, that's where...
Or like where the fuck he came from on the beach 10 minutes before his dad showed up.
Exactly. And that's where the Aruban authorities, by treating it as he's just lost
a
at
missing
sea,
child, yeah.
They made it... I truly believe that there was evidence, even without Max's body, that could have shown that they
Foul
did
play,
something
yeah.
to him, and the Aruban authorities chose to ignore it.
Oh, 100%. I
Sorry.
mean, the scratches on him, how does that not say foul play just because he said it was from the fucking jet ski?
Yeah,
they can't be
that's
that
your
fucking...
job, is to question.
I was
going to
say they can't be that dumb to be like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just like, oh, okay, this guy was in the room. And, it was 2004. Obviously, they have security cameras. I don't know how common security cameras were.
Yeah.
But, like, nowadays, I feel like every hotel hallway has security cameras.
That's how Diddy got
So,
fucking caught, dude.
I want to see the security footage from that hallway and see him come out of the room after the people were knocking on his door.
Yeah, and
I really do.
Dude, I wish they had...
But it doesn't... There's no way it existed anymore by the time like Corey Williams was working on it and stuff. It's like, that's the kind of stuff you have to get it right away.
Yeah.
And the authorities
That's what I'm saying. It's like, all the evidence is gone by this point.
It's gone. And it's just like, what a shame. What a shame. And my heart breaks for Yvonne and for Dominique and just everyone who loved Max. And I don't know. I hope that Max and his dad are together. And
yeah, I hope he can like rest peacefully,
Now, I did want to read a quick, it's like about a page long, which is Max's story that Yvonne wrote for the Max to the Millions website. So like this is her overall description of like what Max to the Millions is and what a quick overview of Max's story. But I think in Yvonne's words, so you can kind of get an idea of how she feels about all this.
Yeah.
So the following is one large quote, okay? Just, this is not my rating. So she says, Max to the Millions has been created in hopes that Dominique, Max's sister, age 12, will remember her father and brother. Dominique's dad died of a heart attack 2 days before her parents' 13th wedding anniversary. Max died 18 months after his father died. He died in Aruba. We went there to celebrate our strength. The school year was ending and we made it. Max went out on a jet ski and was lost at sea. Our family found so much comfort and laughter by the water. Now there is so much sadness. Max died at sea on May 12, 2004. He was 14 years old. Death is so lonely and sad for those left behind. It's private and public at the same time. People try to be there, but most stay away. They want to help out, but don't know how. It's hard and difficult, not only for us, but for all who knew George and Max. Maybe I'm trying to hold on to a memory. Maybe I'm trying to parent my dead child just a little longer. Maybe I'm lost and trying to find my way without drowning myself. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's rough.
The true reason I'm doing this is to help Dominique. It gives not only Dominique and myself a chance to heal, it also gives friends and family a chance to do the same. We want to give and to remember while someone else receives a gift of love. The money raised, because, sorry, brief interruption to Yvonne's quote. Max to the Millions is it's basically like a memorial charity where they're trying to raise money. So she's explaining where the money is going to. She says the money raised will be gifted to premature babies. We will gift in the form of money to someone new each year at Max's birthday. Dominique was born a premature baby. She would like to help someone just like herself.
Aww.
When George died, it was so very hard for friends, coworkers, and family to talk about him. It was difficult for people to know how to reach out to us. Most would look at us and see our outward smile, but not our broken hearts. That's all we would allow others to see. Many fumble and say things like, "You look like you're doing so well." Don't judge a book by its cover. I feel we deserve an acting award. Death is sad, lonely, private, and so painful. It's something that we will face sooner or later. Then, only then, will you have a hint of understanding. You can't run or hide. That's why most are so afraid. They know that they will someday lose someone they love and hold dear. I wish for you and for us self-strength and self-confidence to push forward to love and to live the life we were gifted. Remember and appreciate all that you have. Enjoy your life and those around you. That will truly be your treasure to hold and guide you until you meet again. That's why in George's and Max's memory, I do this. I need Dominique to know that it's important for her to remember and talk of her father and brother in a warm and loving way when others stop talking and remembering. That's what our family was all about, giving to others while loving and enjoying each other. With angels watching over us and friends by our side, we are blessed. End quote.
The holiday season officially starts when you get that first card in the mail. Shutterfly makes it easy to add more meaning to the everyday with hundreds of holiday card designs that can be personalized in seconds with your favorite photos from this year. Select your greeting, customize the color, and even add little extras like personalized foil to make a holiday card that really shines. Enjoy 40% off with code SMILE40 at Shutterfly.com and send something meaningful this year. See site for more details.
What's up, guys? It's the champ, Sean O'Malley, here to talk to you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money while watching football. Run your game on Prize Picks.
Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code SPOTIFY. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Damn it, Vaughn.
And I wanted to end off with that because I felt like that was a very important message and kind of gives you a glimpse into, you know, what she is going through, and also gives you a glimpse into it. I guess it's just a reminder to really appreciate what you have when you have it. And like she said, like, you know, be strong, be confident to push forward, and like love it, you know, love the people you have while you have them, and live your life to the fullest while you can, because you don't know when people or things or whatever will be just taken away from you. And I mean, it's happened to her twice.
Yeah.
With two of the closest people, your child and your husband, your life partner, within 18 months of each other. And I can't even imagine the amount of grief that comes with that. And I think Yvonne is a very strong and very impressive woman. And
her and Dominique.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm very glad that they have each other, but it just makes you just a reminder to everyone, you know, go give a hug to the people that you love. Now, Yvonne told the Oakland Press that traveling out of the country should be an enjoyable experience for everyone, but she urges people to not be naive and think they are as safe as they are with their neighbors at home. She explained, quote, "You just have to be always aware of your surroundings and who you're with. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to not be friendly, not to be outgoing. And you know, you get lost, you want to have fun, and that's where we were. You want to not always have your guard up, and I should have, end quote. So that goes back to what I was saying is hindsight is 20/20. And I think it's always good to look at these stories and say, what can we learn from them? And that's what Yvonne is saying here. This is what you can learn from this is, you know, you want to trust people you meet on vacation and you're having a great time and you want to let your guard down and just kind of relax and whatever. And you want to be polite when someone asks, oh, you guys are going parasailing tomorrow. Can we come with you? And you want to be like, oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
you seem nice. That's what she's saying. She's saying, don't do that. I let my guard down and you should not. And I want to leave off on that note as a reminder, because after I posted the Adam Walsh videos on TikTok, they got like 5 million views. And the way that people were speaking about Reve Walsh in those comments, shame on some of these people.
Yeah.
Just absolutely. Well, that's what she gets for leaving her son alone. Yeah, that is what she got. She doesn't fucking need you to tell her that. I mean, the woman lost a child. She doesn't need you to rub stuff like that in her face. Like, it's just disgusting.
But also, who are you to fucking say that?
Oh,
like,
they're perfect, Emily.
Did you lose a child? Did you
They're perfect.
have to be on national television and say, yes, I lost my son who I was supposed to be taking care of? No.
Those people who do that, they're perfect human beings. They've never made a mistake in their life, don't you know? They're perfect parents. They're the best, most perfect parents on earth. They're the perfect human beings. They never make mistakes. They never do anything wrong. And they would never leave their child alone in a store like Reve Walsh did. And I think the people who act like that, like I said, I think it's okay to look at these stories and say, what can we learn? How can we make better choices? Yeah, should Reve have left Adam in the store alone? I think she realizes now that she probably shouldn't have. Lesson learned. I think it is okay to respectfully have that discussion so we can all learn and make better choices. That's what Yvonne's doing. Yvonne is saying, this is what I did wrong. I let my guard down and I shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. And she's saying, you guys can learn from me. No comments in TikTok, I get so many. I try to delete them and block those people. It is very difficult on TikTok because there's too many.
There's a lot of fucking haters on TikTok, is what I've come to realize.
It's crazy. I mean, there's just thousands.
Everyone that thinks that their 2 cents is the only one that matters, it's wild to me.
Right. And but my thing is again, I always want to learn from these stories. Yvonne has gone through something unimaginable, and she has learned from her mistakes, and she does not need horrific comments from people who are upset about something.
Yeah. She has to live with that every day. Like, she doesn't also need it from everybody else on the fucking internet. So just know, and this goes for way further than any story we ever tell. If someone makes a mistake and it ends horribly like this, any hate comments, you're immediately blocked, okay? If I see them, you're blocked. And I try and look through them all. Like I said, on TikTok, I just genuinely can't keep up with them. I try and look through them all. As soon as I see it, you'll just be blocked. I don't, that's not what we're doing here, okay? This is our thing, and that is not what we are doing here. We're making that very known that behavior is not okay. Keep it to yourself.
So keep it to yourself. Keep your inside thoughts inside your head. You don't have to say everything you think, and you definitely don't have to type it and hit post. So
if you don't have anything, in the words of my mom, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't fucking say anything at all.
Yeah, that is like the one.
What a powerful fucking
since social media
lesson.
started, that was like learning lessons 101 when I was a kid, but I don't think they're teaching that anymore.
Either that or they fucking forgot.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, thank you to Yvonne for reaching out. Thank you for all of the information, and really what we're hoping is for the FBI to reactivate this case.
Yeah.
So one thing that I spoke with Yvonne about is, she's really trying to garner media attention to get the FBI to reactivate Max's case and get people to actively work on this and see what can come out of it. And with that, I think that court is adjourned for today.
Alrighty. I'm going to go blow my nose.
Bye.
Bye.